we'll just take one small example of one small business, and from there we'll try to understand that how do we fit um, that example or requirement into Oracle applications. Okay, so
Okay.
that way you
Yeah.
will understand the concept clearly. You will be having logical image on your mind so that you will remember always. Okay, if I say chart
Okay.
of account right now, you may be confused, or even if you know that, you might be knowing something about that, but now image is going to change now.
Yeah, that will be helpful.
So, I'll just take the example of one very small company. This company's name is Chandra Enterprise. Okay,
Yep.
this Chandra Enterprise is very small company, and this company has to buy something. They need to buy few pens. When this company buys something, what will happen? When you are buying something, even if you take the example of your daily life, you go to shop, you buy something. What happens? You buy something that comes into your pocket, and you give something in turn that goes into others' pocket. So something comes in, something goes out of your pocket. So what is coming in? The thing which you are purchasing, the stuff you are purchasing that comes into your pocket, and money goes out of your pocket. So remember one simple accounting rule which says that if you are buying something, if you are not even buying, if you are dealing with third party, whether it is customer or supplier, if you are giving something, you will get in turn. If you are getting in turn, you will have to pay something. Okay, so it is double entry accounting system wherein I'm talking about one very small expense, petty expense, that is pen. Okay, pen this Chandra Enterprise has to buy. So what will happen? Pen will come in. Whatever comes into your business, that is debit. Remember always. Cash will go out of your pocket. This will credit. Whatever goes out of your pocket, that is credit. So each and every expense we need to identify with a name, so that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at any point of time, we can calculate that how much we are spending on particular thing. Because it is petty expense, I'm just not talking about supplier, not talking about supplier's contact, not talking about supplier's address, nothing. It is very small expense for me. I'm just intended to record very limited information about this purchase so that I can maintain my books of accounts. Okay, so when I'm purchasing it, what else I need to record? One thing I need to record is what will debit, what will credit. What I need to do next is I need to know, in order to record this transaction, I need to know that in what currency
Right.
this Chandra Enterprise is running, and it all depends on geographical location of Chandra Enterprise. If company is running in India, it will be INR. If it is running in USA, then it will be USD. But here I'm just talking about pennies. Okay, it will debit with 100 pennies, and this will credit with 100 pennies. Now I'm talking about currency. What else I need to record about this purchase? I need to record that in which financial year
Mm-hmm.
I am purchasing it, and I need to record it. And when I'm talking about financial year, I need to know that what type of financial year company is using. There are two type of financial years. One is fiscal and one is calendar financial.
Calendar.
So I need to know that which type of financial year is adopted by Chandra Enterprise. Okay.
Right. Right.
And fiscal. So here it is financial year like 2003, 2004, 2012 or what, and this is type of financial year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then what else I need to know? I need to know that in which period this transaction is to be recorded. What is this period? Basically, for reporting purpose, we need to divide one financial year into small pieces
Right.
so that we can enter the data conveniently and we can retrieve the data also conveniently. So we can divide our financial year quarterly, we can divide it fortnightly, we can divide it monthly. That depends on discretion of the company, how they want. But by most of the companies, monthly periodical system is adopted because usually monthly we need to produce most of the reports, be it MIS reports, be it managerial reports, be it the reports which we need to show to our stakeholders or partners in business. Whatever the reports you generate, you usually generate monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and if you are choosing monthly periodical system, it doesn't mean that you can't produce quarterly. You can do that. Still, you have option. But the minimal uh, uh, way of generating the report you keep is period. Then this period is also be having type, as I told you. Whether
Right.
Chandra Enterprise is this is
Monthly
the
or
period
quarterly. Right.
January, February, March, April, or whatever. But what is the
Mm-hmm.
type? Whether it is monthly periodical system
Mm-hmm.
or quarterly, fortnightly, whatever. By most of the
Right.
companies, monthly periodical system is adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order to record this transaction, what else is the least information? Next is on what date you are recording, you are purchasing. So this is the least
Okay.
information for your audit purpose also you need to record. You may not be interested
Right.
about the supplier, you may not be interested about suppliers any other information because you are already saying that it is petty expense. When we'll talk about suppliers information, suppliers contact information, address and all other things, terms and all, we'll talk about account payables. Okay, so right now we are just focusing on very small expense just to understand the concept. Now, this Chandra Enterprise is very small company. It is having one or two companies under it. I mean, this enterprise is very small enterprise. It is having one or two companies under it, few departments, few locations, few number of accounts, or few number of product lines it is having, then it is a bit easy to record this same transaction. But if you think of a bigger scenario where this Chandra Enterprise is Reliance Enterprise, then what? It's a big company, it's a big enterprise. Under that enterprise, there are hundreds of companies based on various line of businesses. There are hundreds of departments, there are thousands of locations, there are accounts in lakhs, there are thousands of product lines, then it will become very difficult to record the same transaction securely for each company, for each department, for each location, for each product line. And then it will become very difficult to retrieve the data securely when you need the report. So think of a bigger scenario now. This Chandra Enterprise has become big enterprise. This same company. Based on various line of businesses, it is having companies under it. Chandra Telecom, Chandra Infotech, Chandra Retail, Chandra Energy, which is into energy sector. I'm just taking the example of 4 companies, okay, under it,
Okay.
to understand. Now think of this individual company. This individual company, this one and this one. Under each of this, there will be structure further. If I take the example of this only and I shift them to right hand side, you'll find that under this also there is structure, because there will be departments. Suppose finance department, very important one. Then we have sales department. Then we have HR. Then we have admin, and so on. Not taking many of them, just to understand concept, I have taken 4 of them. Same way, under this company also there will be departments. Then there are locations like New York is one location, then New Jersey, then we have Washington, then we have Atlanta, you can see. Okay. Under this company and so on, I mean, there may be any number of departments. So what is this? This is my company. This is department. This is location. Then I have accounts. Okay. I'll just write down the names based on the nature of accounts, though in real-time scenario, you will find different names. I'm just writing down asset account. You won't find asset account as such. There will be some name and nature of that name or object will be asset, right?
Okay. Right.
Like if you have car, if you have machinery, if you have AC, those will be the actual names. But nature of those names or objects will be asset.
Asset account.
Same way, the next nature of account is liability. Liability account is used to hold the supplier's liability which business owes towards it. Okay. Then we have expense. Expense you won't find directly, but there will be some name. Let's take the example of a stationery. Stationery is the account. Nature of that stationery account is expense. Then revenue. Again, there may be different revenue heads. Names may be different, but nature will be revenue. Then equity account. Stakeholders equity we call it usually. People call it as equity account as well. Then to fit the scenario, I'm just writing down one more account, cash or bank. Okay. Though the nature of this account is asset again, it is liquid cash, so it is asset. Under this, then there will be one more segment called sub account. Under each main account, there will be sub accounts. If I write stationery, here, then pen will come here.
Okay.
And same way, under each of them, there will be one sub account. and may not be, it depends. Under some accounts there are no sub accounts also, there are examples. Okay, now
Okay.
because this is the accounting in legacy system or in your physical ledgers when your company is small, when you want to record the same pen expense accounting, what will be the accounting? This is the pen account. It comes under this expense or stationery. Suppose it was bought for Atlanta, it was bought for sales department, or and it was ultimately bought for this company. So what kind of accounting will be? Pen was pen falls under stationery. Then it was bought for uh, New Jersey location. Then it was bought for admin department, and then finally it comes under Chandra Telecom. So it will be this long string here in the debit side. So instead of doing that, what we do, we identify each and every value with the code
Hmm.
01. It doesn't mean that if we are giving the code to each and every value, we'll have to remember the name or description. Wherever user on entry screens will see this code, in front of that code, there will be
Mm-hmm.
description as well.
Right.
Same way, these will also be having codes. And why I am giving in 2 digits? My
Reporting.
no, that is not the only reason. My business owner or stakeholders say that today we are 5 companies. In 10 years down the line, we may expand till 55.
Right.
Today you are in 1 digit, only 5 companies, one, two, three, four, five. But tomorrow you will
Mm-hmm.
expand, right? You will go beyond two
Right.
digits. So today
Right.
only I am thinking about 10 years. That okay, in 10
Mm-hmm.
years, if business says that no, okay, we may expand till 155 companies, or maybe
Right.
200, or maybe 800, up to
Right.
999, up to triple nine.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, you
Right.
will give 3 digits.
I see. Okay.
How to do it in application, we'll come to that later on. But right now we are just talking about plain simple business.
Right.
Same way, department also I feel that we maybe right now we are in 2 digits, or we
Mm-hmm.
may expand till 2 digits tomorrow.
Right.
Keeping that on mind, I'm just keeping it in 2 digits again.
2 digits. Right.
Same way.
Right.
Always in any company, the number of accounts are more in numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
just to get that feel, in this example, I'll just keep it in 3 digits.
Right.
Okay, so just put it here. 01 001, sorry.
So generally, this is where I think I want to jump in. I don't want to jump in, but is there any naming convention with reference to numbers? Asset account will always start with 1, and the revenue account always start with 4, like that.
Exactly. This
Generally.
time only. This time only it is decided. And that's how it happens. Sheeshe wala.
Okay.
That's how it happens. You just decide in the beginning only that okay, my assets are right now 5,000.
Mm.
So till what limit I'll keep it. Today we are 5,000, but when I write 5,000, it means
Mm-hmm.
4 digits.
Right.
What does it mean? I can define it 1, 2, 3, 4 in 4 digits.
Right.
I can define it. It means today
Mm-hmm.
we are having only 5,000 assets, but
Right.
we have left the scope here that okay we can define till 9999.
Right.
Okay, so that way only keeping all your numbers, a number of accounts in mind, you decide to have the maximum digit you want to have.
Right.
Then you can
Right.
decide, okay, 1 to 200, I want to keep asset accounts. Then
Mm-hmm.
2001 to 500, I want to keep liability accounts. So that time itself, you need to decide.
Okay.
Then again, PAN account I am identifying with the code 001. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now when you will say debit line, what you will say 001. It comes under 003.
Right.
Suppose this pen was bought for Atlanta location. Okay. 04.
Mm-hmm. 04.
It was bought for sales department, let's suppose.
02.
Then
01.
it will be 01. To end user, all values will be visible in the drop down list, but based on the requirement, user will choose. And even you can
Right.
impose the security. What user should be
Mm-hmm.
able to see, what should not.
Right.
This will debit in Oracle applications. If this
Mm-hmm.
is debit, what will credit? Because you are debiting 01 company, so you are supposed to credit 01 company only.
0.
02,
Right.
04. Now account will be different and it will be
Right.
006. And because under cash account I'm saying that I do not have any sub account, what do I need to
Mm-hmm.
do? I need to define one code with the value default,
Right. 06.
and then I need to choose that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to complete the combination, what we have done here is that we have
Right.
defined one code with the name default.
Mm-hmm.
This will credit.
Right.
This was the business requirement.
Mm-hmm.
This whole activity we have done for that. This whole activity in Oracle applications is done
Mm-hmm.
under a screen called chart of account,
Right.
which is called COA.
Mm-hmm.
This is the feature in Oracle applications given.
Right.
So this was the business requirement and this is the feature given. Now if someone asks you what is chart of account, you don't have any confusion on mind what is chart of account. And even
Right.
if I ask me what is chart of account, you don't have any question because it is already explained here.
Right.
This is the requirement.
Mm-hmm.
This is the feature given. Next
Right.
business requirement is this currency.
Right.
To define currency in Oracle applications, we have one screen called currency definition screen.
Right.
In that screen, you don't have to define it. This we have to define, and we can define the way we want based on the requirement. But currency is something which we don't have to define. because currency is going to remain same forever.
Right.
There may be rare cases when you need to define a currency, when due to this ISIS activities and all, there may be a new country popped up anytime. So you need to define that. So that option is given. In the screen, you can define the currency, but all currencies are given as seeded data. Seeded data is something which is given in the product as it is. You don't have to define that. Okay.
Right.
So you just need to enable the currency. That's all you need to do. And you go to this screen, search for your currency, and enable it. There is one button. I mean checkbox given there. You just need to enable it.
Right.
So for this business requirement, this is the feature given. Next is this. To define all these four things in application, we are given one screen, one setup screen, period type. Now this date. To default to dates, we are given one screen, setup screen, that is called calendar.
Right.
In fact, this thing and these two things are decided in calendar.
Okay.
We will define the periods also, January, February, March, April, and dates will be defaulted from that only on transactions. This is called first C.
Right.
This is called second C. This is called third C. For interviews, I'm telling you, I mean, this is a nomenclature which is, kind of used by consultants. What are 3 C's?
Right.
Using these 3 C's, we define something called books of accounts. In business, we call it as books of accounts. In Oracle applications, we call it as SOB in 11i.
Right. Right.
In release 12, we call it as ledger.
Ledgers. Right.
Ledger is made up of 4 C's.
Right.
Now, what is this 4th C? 3 C's are the same. 4th C is accounting convention. Some people may call it sub-ledger, accounting method.
Right.
Some people may call it as SLA only, or some people may call it as SLAM.
Right.
It is of 3 types: standard accrual, standard cash,
Right.
and standard encumbrance. This is rarely used by businesses. This is simple traditional way of doing business, and nowadays most of the businesses run on this one, standard accrual.
Right.
Wherein you say that we will buy services or items from you, but today we are not going to pay you. Based on the payment terms, we'll pay you after 30 days, 45 days, or maybe 60 days. You accrue the expenses. You put the liability on your head. You are supposed to pay for it, and you will pay for it based on the contract you get into with your third party.
Right.
Okay. So this is the fourth C. Now this structure is what? Chart of account structure.
Right.
Now if I ask you the definition of this chart of account structure in simple word, what should it be? Chart of account structure is used to record
Credits and debits are accounting
financial transactions
or
securely.
transactions, right?
Yeah, simply
Right.
you can say chart of account is the solution. It is the provision which can be used to record financial transactions securely based on the segments company wants to record
Right.
based on.
Right.
Now this is
Right.
Chandra Enterprise who says that okay, based on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments I want to record financial transactions. There may be Vijay Enterprise who says no, I want product line also. So one more segment, product. There may be another XYZ company who says that okay, no, we are project based company. We want project also one of the segments. So one more segment, up to 30 segments you can define. This is the limit given in Oracle applications.
Right.
And this is very important interview question.
How many segments are allowed? The study.
Right. And this one also. What are the 3 C's? What are the 4 C's? What ledger is made up of? What SOB is made up of? These are frequently asked questions.
Right.
This is the structure which you use to secure the financial transactions. What about other data in the organization? And what is that other data? That data is employee data. That data is company or financial data or ledger data, you can say. Data is operational data. I'll come to it in detail what this operational data is. Then inventory data or item data. If you look at any organization, you will find this type of data in any company.
Right.
To secure this data, we have something called business group.
So just one question, Vijay, and just want to not get forgetting the question. So you made a point under Chandra Enterprises. Let's say there is somebody else called Vijay Enterprises also comes into picture, and Vijay Enterprises said I got a fifth segment, which is project is my fifth segment.
Right.
Now Chandra top on telecom has got 4 segments, and Vijay Enterprises has got 6 segments.
Right.
So now 4 segments, 6 segments, they all sit in the same legal entity, or they become Vijay Enterprises becomes its own legal entity because the chart of account is not different.
Yes, please go ahead.
So that's the question. It becomes a different legal entity, right?
Right. That is true.
Okay.
If number of segments are different under any company to record financial transactions, then you will have to have a separate legal entity actually, separate ledger.
Right.
You can say.
Or I can have 5 segments all across, and then wherever there is no projects, I'll default it to 00 or 999.
Yeah.
But all my segments are now 5.
That's right. But number of segments you need to keep as same.
Okay. Anytime I can, any number of, I don't have to define new legal entities just because the numbers are now more.
Right.
As long as my other legal entities can live with same number of segments, keeping
Right.
the fifth segment as 999, I can leave it as one ledger only.
Right.
Okay, or one legal entity only.
Yes.
Is ledger legal entity are same, or am I confusing?
Different. It may be possible. It may be possible there is one entity who is just reporting to government authorities, and there is one sister concern. Both are associated with one ledger. To report the tax information and other information to authorities, there is one registered legal company, but actually there are two if we talk about operations. But those both can be tagged with one ledger. I'll just come to those scenarios later on in this today's session only when we are on this one, legal entity or legal company. So let's talk about business group right now. So business group is the organization which is used to secure employee data in any organization. If business says that we want to have centralized database of employee, then they can have one BG. Okay. So if they say that, okay, no, based on various companies under it, we want to secure employee data, then you can have same number of BGs, define the number of companies you have. Or if there is a scenario country differs, then also you need to have a different BG.
Okay.
So all depends on business requirement. You are flexible to do it in application.
Okay.
Then to secure this data, we have something called legal entity, or we call it as LE. This legal entity is used to secure your financial data or ledger data. Again, but it depends that with one ledger there may be two legal entities associated. Maybe three, maybe four. But if business says that, okay, for all legal companies, we don't want to mingle any data, then they can have separate legal entity and ledger. Each legal entity is tagged with one ledger. Or there may be a possibility wherein they say that one registered company, but more than one balancing segment values or sister concerns working together. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So if they say that one legal company registered with authorities, but under that we have sister concerns running. So you can define balancing segment values, multiple balancing segment values, tagged to one legal entity, and then that legal entity is tagged to one ledger. So various scenarios are there.
Okay.
Scenario 1,
so,
where I say BSV1 or 01, BSV02, BSV03, BSV04, and LE1. And ledger, different, I mean one ledger for all. Scenario 2, it remains the same. Here it will be LE1.
LE1.
Here it will be LE2. Here it will be LE3, or we can write 1, 2, 3, or 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 I have written. Then it will be
1 to 1.
Yeah, 0, 4. And one ledger. Scenario 3, where this remains same, but ledger 1, ledger 2, ledger 3, ledger 4. Scenario 4, where business says that we have our legal companies registered in different countries altogether. Then also you need to go for this one. When you say companies are in different geographies or countries, it means
Different currency.
If any C differs,
Is different.
exactly. Right. If any C differs, this, or this, then
right.
you will have to have separate legal entity.
Then you will
legal entity and
ledger.
Ledger. Okay. Any doubt?
Yeah. So this is, I think, where so if you kind of scroll to the right, make that okay. So scenario 1. So you have 4 balancing segments, and they all have the same C's, currency, chart of account. They all same C's, and they all will be one single ledger.
Right.
Automatically, if the chart of account is same currency, same calendar is same, there is no need to define a new ledger, hence it will be used one ledger only.
Right.
And they all can be defined under one legal entity. So I can assume that, I just want to move a little forward based on what I've done. So it makes me more clear. So BSV 1 can be defined as operating unit 1, so on and so forth. Scenario 2, we have two. Each BSV falls under its own legal entity, its own company definition, legal entity in terms in my word, right? Its own legal entity, but they all fall under same ledger because they're all sharing the same chart of accounts and same thing. So what's the advantage of having 2 or 1?
What is the advantage of having scenario 2 or 1?
2 or 1, and why can't we do 1 in place of 2? What's the advantage of having 4 legal entities?
It again depends. I mean, if business says, if you have already got all your legal companies registered, then you can define it this way in your application as well.
Okay. So if the companies have its own tax identification, its own reporting, then I need to have its own legal entity.
Right.
Okay. If they all report under one single legal entity,
right,
then it is scenario 1.
Yes.
Okay. Scenario 3 is balancing segment 1 to 1 to legal entity, and that one will have, each legal entity will have its own ledger. Is that right?
Right.
So one balancing segment, one legal entity, one ledger.
Yeah. Or it may be this way also, that 2 LEs are associated with one ledger. 1 is having one separate ledger. 3 are having one separate ledger. It may be this way.
Okay. The combination of 1 and 2. Right. You have either one ledger or shared ledger.
Yeah.
Okay. Scenario 1 is.
Yeah. This way, in scenario 3, you do not mingle anything. Everything is separate and secure. In terms of reporting also, in terms of recording the transactions, everything.
Right.
The best example for scenario 3 is wherein business says that our chart of account is also same, our currency is also same, our calendar is also same. It means within the country there are two companies or three companies, but still we want one ledger for two companies and one for one company, separate ledger for
Right.
one company. This may be the scenario wherein business says that one company is our sole proprietary.
Mm-hmm.
In other two or maybe in other one, there are stakeholders.
Okay.
So we want to separate it
Okay.
because we are not bound to have two ledgers because everything is in the same country. Number of
Right.
segments are also same. Chart of account is same. Calendar is same. Currency is same. Then why do we need to define a separate ledger altogether? But
Right.
this may be the case wherein you need to define a separate ledger.
Okay. So scenario 4 is each balancing segment its own legal entity and its own ledger.
Right.
There is no intermingling.
Right.
So either the chart of accounts are different or one of those C's are different and they all report independent of each other.
Right.
Okay. Okay, fine.
So this is about legal entity. If someone asks you that on what basis you decide to define your legal entity, you have got various
It's
scenarios
based,
with you.
right.
Then it comes operational data we need to secure.
Mm-hmm.
What is this operational data? Operational
Operational data
data is generated when you do the business operations with your third parties. And there are three third parties in business. One is supplier, one is customer, and one is bank.
okay.
Whenever you do any financial transaction, the operational data will be generated, which you need to record.
Right.
To secure that operational data, you have something called operating unit, or we call it as OU. I'll give you one example where you have. I'll take one manufacturing company's example where you have three units where different operations are going on. You
Mm-hmm.
are manufacturing bus in one, you are manufacturing truck in second one, and in third one you are manufacturing mobile.
Right.
So in all three units there will be suppliers supplying the raw material items, services. There will be customers purchasing those finished goods. There will be banks associated who are operating or recording your transactions
Right.
in bank, processing your payments, receiving the payments from customers. So in all three units, different same kind of operations are happening. You are dealing with customer, you are dealing with suppliers, you are dealing with bank.
Right.
But all these three operating units are running under one legal company.
Right.
Data from all operating units will be flown into GL ultimately.
Right.
In GL, how would you identify that this data is coming from which operating unit? This invoice is coming from one of which operating unit, because invoice is being generated in unit 1 also, unit 2 also, unit 3 also.
Right.
Purchase order can be would be entered in unit 1, 2, 3 and 4, 3, all three. Same way you will process the payment from all operating units.
3 units.
So how you will secure that data, operational data, when it comes to GL? So you tag the operating unit to it. When data will be moving from operating unit to GL, it will bring one operating unit code, or we call it as org ID associated to it.
Right.
So that way you secure your operational data. So to secure operational data, we have operating unit. Here, that's why we say that GL is at this level, because we are defining ledger here. That's why we say that AP, AR, PO, project accounting, and many other modules are at this level.
Right.
Now what comes? Inventory data. We need to secure inventory data. Inventory data can be secured with the term called, or organization called, inventory org, or we call it as IO.
Right.
This is not org ID, this is organization ID in backend.
Right.
This is org ID, this is organization ID.
Organization ID, right.
So inventory org can be known as the warehouses in simple plain business. Whatever is the warehouse where you store your raw material, where you store your finished good, that can be known as inventory org in application. So whenever you need to secure your items, you need to define the inventory org. And there may be one big warehouse that is called as master inventory org, and there are child warehouses or small warehouses, those are called as child orgs or sub inventories.
Right.
Okay, so this is how you secure your
transaction data or operational data.
No, as a whole we call it as organizational data.
Okay.
And to secure your organizational data, these are the type of organizational data: employee data, company data, operational data, inventory data. And to do all this, we have something called organization structure,
hierarchy structure,
which is used to secure organizational data. This is only transactional data, and this is organizational data, including transactional data also at this level.
Right. Because you got operational OU and inventory.
Right. So this is all about organization structure. So far we have seen two structures. One is chart of account structure, and another one is organization structure. And you know the significance of having them.
Right.
How do we do it in application? We'll see.
Right.
Now, after this, we need to understand the setup steps. Where do we need to start the implementation? What we need to do first? What we need to do next? We can't just go into application and start doing anything. There should be some sequence.
Right.
So we started from enable currency. Setup checklist. Setup checklist of basic configuration which you need to do.
Right.
Enable currency. Define period type. define calendar, define COA, define COA values,
Right.
define LE
Mm-hmm.
and ledger. Legal entity we used to define in inventory in 11i. Now in release 12 we define it in GL
GL.
along with ledger.
Right.
Then we define BG, and there is one screen called ASM, Accounting Setup Manager, under which we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then define OU. Then define IO.
IO.
Then define responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Then define user. Then
Right.
assign profile values. This whole thing is done in GL.
Right.
Starting from here to this point. This is done in inventory module, or you can do it in HRMS module also. This is done in sysadmin.
Mm-hmm.
And till this point.
Right.
This is the basic configuration. This is independent. You can define it. You can write down it here also anywhere. It has no dependency on these setups actually.
Right.
Now, once you are done with this basic configuration, you need to learn end user activities.
Mm-hmm.
How to enter journal or vouchers.
Right.
How to post them. How to reverse them if need be.
The proof.
Approval also. Then
Maybe reconcile.
Reconciliation at this point we don't do actually. Until unless we have subledger module, what is the point in reconciliation? We reconcile the
Right.
subledger balances with GL balances, right? So
Right.
here we are not going to have any submodule, so we will not write it here. Now advanced features which can be used by one business, another may not use. Recurring journals. Then cross validation rules. We call them CVRs.
Right.
And then security rules. Then we have reporting currency concept. Then we have journal budget. I have not seen even a single company using this Oracle's journal budget feature, but still we have it. We'll do intra-company revaluation.
I'm forgetting one thing called reporting. There is a concept of something generate report.
FSG you might be talking about.
FSG report.
FSG is not part of this. I'll share a document with you which you can make use of it. You can yourself do it. Okay. In a nutshell, these are the features which you won't find even 3-4 being used by one organization at one go. Okay. So this we'll do.
Can you mark the general reporting journal? What was the last line? That has never been used so far. Red color, some color.
Which one?
General budget. General budget. The last third line.
Journal budget. People do not use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the features given in GL. And we need to start from here.
Okay. So, a question. Let's say we have a legal entity. One of the C is a USD, and one of my OU has a customer who has a site in Canada, and he'll pay with Canadian dollars. So I enable Canada also as a currency that I can do transactions in the legal entity. So my functional currency is USD, but Canadian dollars is also allowed. Then I'll define my exchange rate or whatever.
Right.
But still, my functional currency remains USD. That adding other currencies into the model doesn't make any impact in terms of the third C. Am I accurate so far?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
I can have one functional currency, but I can receive transactions in many currencies as long as I define the currencies in my legal entity or ledger.
Right. Basically, there are two things. One is when you say that you can define so basically when you say that you can have more than one currencies enabled for one ledger, that is not correct. You can enable any number of currencies independently, but one currency you can use with one ledger at a time.
Correct.
Now there are two things. One is that when you say you want to report all your balances, functional currency balances into a different currency, or you are saying that you are running in one functional currency, but your supplier is paying you in different currency. There are two things here.
Correct.
So in the case when supplier is paying you in different currency, you need to enable one feature that is called multi-currency feature. You need to enable. Through that, what you can do, you can just enter the transactions in different currency other than your functional currency. System will convert it into your functional currency.
Correct. Okay. So I was talking about this scenario.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is one. This is one. So we have one feature, one setup on payables option in AP where you can enable that. So that is possible. Another thing, when you say that okay, your one company is having, your company is having headquarters in one country, and one company is running in different geography somewhere, and the entrepreneur stakeholders sitting in the one country say that okay, you keep on entering the transactions in your functional currency. Why do I say functional currency? Because for that company in that country, it is functional currency.
Mm-hmm.
But report us in my currency.
Right.
So that's where this reporting currency concept come into picture.
Right.
Where from your functional currency, you are reporting your balances into different currency.
Different currency, right.
Right. So these
So,
are two things.
right. So for the second one, where my customers or suppliers are paying or receiving in different currency, my functional currency remains same, but my multi-currency will kick in.
Right.
As long as I put Canadian dollars, automatically converts into USD. I still have recording in the functional currency only. That's
Right.
good. No issues.
Yeah.
If I have a company, I'll have to report to my parent company in its functional currency, in other words, Canadian currency. I'm talking about reporting currency. Do I need to define a secondary ledger just for the reporting purposes, or can I report using the currency calculator itself?
We'll
I
come
do
to that.
functional.
We'll come to
Okay
that.
then.
We'll do that. I mean, I have not just written these things here. This we are going to do. We are going to do this.
Okay.
You are right. I mean, there will be one secondary ledger, which will automatically be created by system during the setup when we'll do this. Okay.
Correct. Right.
But yes, there will be one secondary ledger.
Right. So at least for the second scenario where I'll have to operationally I'll have to receive or pay in different currencies, that has nothing to do with the secondary ledger.
Right.
Right. As long as I define my multi-currency in the GL.
In AP.
Or in AP.
In sub ledger module only we have those setups. In AR also we have, in AP also we have. It's up to us whether we want to enable or not. If you don't enable, you can't receive or pay in different currency. If you enable, then you can receive or pay in different currency other than your functional.
I thought it's the general ledger where we say functional currency is USD. However, I can also receive in all these 10 different currencies.
No, in GL, basically we just define the conversion rates and all. And for this reporting currency, when you want to report the complete balance of your ledger, then you use this reporting currency concept. Otherwise not.
Okay. Right. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
So in GL we define the exchange rates.
Yeah, we define the currencies, we define the exchange rates, which will be used in subledgers also, submodules also, for those features we have just discussed.
Right.
So we need to start from here. Is that fine? I mean, if we wrap up here today, for today it's fine, or we can go ahead?
Up to you. Maybe we can stop from the calendar.
Okay.
So different currency, period type, and calendar.
Okay, so we'll do it. Give me a second. I need to log on to application.
If you have time, we'll do it. Otherwise, we can do it tomorrow. Up to you. You have to go somewhere.
No, let's do it. Anyway, we need to. We need to cover for you know. So you need to be at their level only. Then only you can join with them. Then I'm just logging on to application. Wait for a moment. Quickly we can do, and these are very small things which we can quickly define in application.
Okay.
So basically, we'll define currency, period type, calendar. We can do these three things. In real-time implementations, when you will get the instance, you will see general ledger super user, payables super user, receivables super user. For each module application, you will see one super user responsibility given in the product.
Right.
But here you will see general ledger vision operations. Okay. So vision operations is nothing but an imaginary company structure which is already defined in the training instance. Okay.
Right.
Everything will remain same. Navigation screens will remain same. The only difference is the name, responsibility name.
Right.
To navigate to the screen where we define currency, it is setup, then currencies, and then define. If I press Control F11, which is one command to query up all the data which is defined through this screen, you can populate everything. But here you will find some scrap data also, but in real-time instance, you will see all the currencies given for all countries. Here we are free to define, so people have defined here. Okay. How you get to know whether it is defined by user or it is seeded data, you go to help, put the cursor on some record, go to record history, it will show who created it.
Right.
Whereas in case of seeded data here, created by, it will come sysadmin.
Right.
So here I need to query up USD. Press F11, bring the screen into query mode, put your keywords, put percentage, and press Control F11. It will query up specific data.
Right. Got it.
Scroll it to right. You need to enable this checkbox. If you are enabling it, it does not mean that you have used it in your setups. You are just enabling currency, and any number of currencies you can have enabled at a time.
Right.
You will use the currency. You please wait for a moment. If you use one currency in your ledger, that means you are using in your configuration. Yeah, please build now.
Yeah, the question is, the precision. Once you define a precision of 2, and let's say the business comes back, my reconciliation issues, rounding up, rounding down, or whatever, can we increase the precision from 2 to 3?
Not any time. Once you have recorded even a single transaction, you are not change it. You can do it. Application will allow, but it is not advised. And
it's not what?
It is not recommended actually.
Recommended, okay.
You can do it. If you do it, you will do it at your own risk. So Oracle support is not going to extend any help for any data corruption.
Right. Okay.
So this is this looks very small thing. Yeah, why can't I change it to 3? But these are decisions which are time taking and thorough decisions. It's not like that you can just take this decision anytime.
Right. So let's say you close this month and everything good, reconcile and everything is good and happy. Starting from next month onwards, I want to make it to 3, but still that's at the risk of who are doing it. Okay, and this precision is valid for all subledgers.
Right.
Right. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. So you can enable any number of currencies at a time. Okay.
Right.
So this is how you enable it. So we have done this. This is how I do. Whatever we keep on doing, I'll keep on changing the color so that we know every day. Because this is going to be the repository of our work we do here.
Right.
like like on a whiteboard.
Right. That's your son?
Yeah, he has got that from. Wait, it's fine. And he has come from park.
Yeah. Right. That's fine.
So define period
Okay.
type.
Right.
We'll do it quickly. Calendar we can do day after tomorrow. So to
Okay.
define calendar, we need to go to financials.
So Vijay, if
Calendars.
you want to go, you can do it tomorrow also.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, period type at least we can define right now. Period type, Chandra, monthly. Periods per year will be 13 because one is going to be adjustment period. 12 will be your normal periods, and this adjustment period is used to record all the adjustment entries at the year end. Because you keep on closing all periods one by one. Suppose you have closed 12 periods and you have still one entry which is to be entered in previous year. You can't record that in next year, right? So for that you define this adjustment period which is used to record all the entries pertaining to previous financial year. Okay? Year type.
Okay.
Calendar and fiscal. You need to choose which one you want. Description, you know that you can give anything, but this is optional. You can leave it blank. Okay, save it.
Okay.
And that's all you're done.
Okay.
We'll do calendar from calendar. We'll do it tomorrow.